Matt faces jail time. The $5 million lawsuit over a forged signature that officially ends Caryn's reign at Roloff Farms. Amy's lawyer just dropped a bombshell that changes absolutely everything we thought we knew about the farm negotiations. We are talking about a forensic investigation, a 1990 deed loophole, and a grandfather clause that Matt Roloff apparently prayed would stay buried forever. What if I told you that the construction of the controversial new wedding barn isn't just a bad idea, but actually a criminal act of fraud? Insider reports and exclusive theories suggesting that Amy Roloff has unearthed a document that doesn't just stop the construction, but could potentially put Matt and Caryn behind bars. This is the justice we have been waiting for. Welcome back to LPBW Update, where we dig deeper than the cameras ever dare to go. Today, we are unpacking a developing story that is setting the internet on fire, based on leaked information and legal theories that are currently circulating among the most connected insiders in the reality TV world. We need to talk about the wedding barn. For months, we have watched Matt Roloff tease this massive commercial project. He frames it as his legacy, a way to keep the farm profitable for generations. But let's look at the reality of what is happening on the ground. Sources close to production have hinted that this isn't just a renovation, it is a hostile takeover of the land's history. The plans for this commercial venue don't just sit on empty grass. They allegedly pave directly over Amy's favorite garden, the very soil she cultivated for 30 years. This is personal. But here's where the story shifts from family drama to high-stakes legal warfare. According to new theories emerging from the deepest corners of the fandom and legal analysts watching the property records, Matt believes he has total legal authority to bulldoze whatever he wants. He acts untouchable. We have seen the footage. Caryn is walking through the property, measuring drapes for what insiders are calling her new office in the big house, acting like the lady of the manor. There is a smugness there, a sense of absolute victory. They believe Amy is out. They believe the check is cleared, the NDA is signed, and the history is erased. But they are wrong. They made a fatal miscalculation because they forgot about the past. They forgot about 1990. To understand the magnitude of the bombshell Amy just dropped, we have to go back in time. We have to strip away the reality show cameras, the producer-driven storylines, and the glitz of the current season. We need to go back to when the Roloff farm was just a dream and a patch of dirt. In 1990, Oregon land laws and property trusts were very specific. When Matt and Amy originally purchased the core acreage of the farm, they didn't just buy it as husband and wife. They reportedly placed it into a specific type of family trust designed to protect the land from exactly the kind of commercial exploitation Matt is attempting right now. Exclusive theories suggest that Amy, feeling something was wrong with the speed of Matt's new project, went into the attic. We are hearing reports that she bypassed the digital records Matt controls and went straight to the physical archives, the dusty boxes that haven't been opened since the kids were toddlers. What she was looking for was the original deed. Not the modified versions from the divorce, not the buyout paperwork from a few years ago, but the foundational document of Roloff Farms. And this is where the narrative explodes. Legal experts who have analyzed similar property trusts from that era in Oregon point to a standard provision known as a grandfather clause regarding land use changes. The theory is that the original deed contains a clause explicitly stating that no designated agricultural zones, specifically the garden areas and the original homestead, can be converted for high-density commercial use without the wet ink signature of both original trustees. That means Matt and Amy. It doesn't matter if they are divorced. It doesn't matter if Matt bought her out of the asset value. If that clause was never formally dissolved with a specific, separate legal filing, it remains active. It is a land covenant, not a marriage vow. It survives the divorce. Imagine the scene. Matt is out there with the bulldozers. Caryn is picking out chandeliers for a wedding venue that creates noise, traffic, and commerce, completely changing the zoning classification of the land. They are moving forward with millions of dollars in renovations. Meanwhile, Amy is sitting at her kitchen table, holding a yellowing piece of paper from 1990 that says none of this can happen without her permission. This is the silver bullet. This is the document that freezes Matt's bank accounts and halts the excavators in their tracks. But why is this coming out now? Why didn't Amy bring this up during the divorce? This is the question everyone is asking, and the answer is terrifying. The working theory is that Amy simply forgot. It was 30 years ago. Matt, however, likely knew. Matt is the details guy. Matt is the one who obsesses over every inch of paperwork. If Matt knew this clause existed, and he proceeded with the buyout without disclosing that this specific restriction was still in place, he committed a breach of fiduciary duty. He withheld material facts to secure the land cheaper and faster. But it gets deeper. The urgency in Matt's recent behavior makes sense now. If you look closely at the timeline of the wedding barn announcement, it was rushed. It felt manic. Why? Because perhaps Matt knew that the statute of limitations on certain property claims was ticking down. Or maybe he knew Amy was starting to organize her old files. He needed to establish facts on the ground, meaning if the barn is already built, a judge is less likely to tear it down. He was racing against the truth. Now let's look at Caryn's role in this history. Reports suggest Caryn has been the driving force behind the commercialization of the farm. She isn't interested in pumpkins. She is interested in high-ticket wedding rentals. This shift requires a total rezoning of the land. The 1990 deed is the only thing standing between Caryn and a 7-figure annual income stream from the venue. If that deed holds up in court, Caryn's reign effectively ends because she cannot build her empire on land that Amy still controls via a 30-year-old restrictive covenant. The tension is palpable. We are hearing whispers that Amy has already quietly contacted a high-powered real estate attorney, someone who specializes in legacy trusts and fraud. This isn't the family lawyer who handled the divorce. This is a shark. The strategy is simple. Prove the deed is valid, prove the clause was never waived, and prove that Matt acted in bad faith. If successful, the entire wedding barn project is illegal. Every dollar Matt has spent so far would be wasted. He would be forced to restore the land to its original condition, meaning he would have to pay to rebuild Amy's garden. But this deep dive into the history of the farm reveals something even more disturbing about the power dynamic. For years, we watched Matt bully Amy into decisions. He used confusion and pressure to get his way. He relied on her being scatterbrained or too emotional to read the fine print. This discovery of the 1990 deed flips the script. It proves that Amy was the protector of the farm all along. She ensured the safeguards were in place back when they were young. The irony is staggering. The very document meant to protect the family legacy from outsiders is now being used to protect it from Matt himself. As we analyze the footage from recent seasons with this new context, you can see the cracks in Matt's armor. There are moments where he snaps at producers when they ask about permits. There are moments where he shuts down conversations about zoning. We used to think that was just Matt being grumpy. Now it looks like guilt. It looks like fear. He has been walking a tightrope, hoping Amy never opened that specific box in the attic. The threat level here is maximum. We are not just talking about a stopped construction project. We are talking about the potential unwinding of the farm deal. If fraud or significant non-disclosure is proven regarding the land use rights, a judge could theoretically void the previous buyout agreements. This puts the entire ownership of Roloff Farms back into play. It opens the door for Amy to reclaim her stake, or at the very least, leverage this violation for a multi-million-dollar settlement that would bankrupt the commercial operation Matt is trying to build. And where is Caryn in all of this? Insider theory suggests she is panicking. She tied her future to this wedding barn. She has reportedly been telling friends that this venue was her retirement plan. If the 1990 deed blocks it, she is left with a man who is legally entangled, financially drained, and humiliated on a global scale. The measurements she took for those drapes, they might be the last measurements she ever takes at Roloff Farms. The stage is set for a confrontation that will make the divorce look like a tea party. Amy has the history, she has the truth, and most importantly, she has the paper trail. But Matt isn't going to go down without a fight. He has spent a lifetime manipulating situations to his advantage. He has a history of pulling rabbits out of hats. But this time, he is not fighting against feelings or opinions. He is fighting against a notarized, recorded mandate from 1990. As we wrap up this look into the history and the threat, you have to ask yourself, why would Matt risk everything on a project that stood on such shaky legal ground? Was it arrogance? Or did he think he had a plan to bypass Amy's rights? This brings us to the darkest part of our investigation, because when Amy presents this 1990 deed, Matt doesn't just fold, he doesn't apologize. According to Explosive New Theories, he and Caryn produce a document of their own, a document that supposedly solves all their problems, a document that looks legitimate, sounds legitimate, but holds a dark secret that will expose a criminal conspiracy right in the heart of the Roloff family. Stay tuned, because what happens next shifts this story from a civil dispute to a criminal investigation. We are about to uncover the villain's trap and the forensic twist that no one saw coming. You do not want to miss what happens when the handwriting experts get involved. And this is where the trap snaps shut. This is the moment where a family dispute turns into a calculated operation of deceit. When Amy presented that 1990 deed, that physical yellowed piece of paper proving she had the final say on the land, insiders say the reaction in the room wasn't panic. It was silent. A chilling, rehearsed silence. Because Matt Roloff, the master planner, was waiting for this exact move. According to exclusive theories circulating among legal analysts close to the case, Matt and Caryn didn't just ignore Amy's claim. They countered it with a piece of evidence that shocked everyone. In a meeting that sources describe as hostile and suffocating, Matt reportedly slid a digital tablet across the table. On the screen was a document dated October 2018. The header read, "Commercial Use Waiver and Zoning Release." And at the bottom, clear as day, was Amy Roloff's signature. The narrative Matt and Caryn spun in that moment was psychological warfare at its finest. They claimed that during the chaotic, emotional fog of the final divorce settlement, a time when Amy was admittedly overwhelmed and just wanted to be free, she had signed this waiver. They told her that she had agreed to dissolve the grandfather clause in exchange for a quicker payout on the big house. They looked her in the eye and told her that her memory was failing her. Caryn's role here is absolutely critical to the theory. Sources claim she wasn't just a bystander, she was the enforcer. Witnesses allege Caryn laughed at Amy's 1990 deed, calling it ancient history and irrelevant paper. She reportedly told Amy, "Honey, we moved into the digital age years ago. You signed the rights away. You just don't remember because you were too busy playing the victim." It was gaslighting on an industrial scale. They tried to make Amy question her own sanity. They tried to make her believe that the 1990 protection was a phantom, erased by her own hand in 2018. For a moment, it worked. The villain's trap relies on doubt. Amy returned home, shaken. She questioned herself. Had she signed it? There were piles of paperwork in 2018. Had she inadvertently given Matt the keys to the kingdom just to get the divorce over with? The construction on the wedding barn ramped up the next day. Matt was so confident, so arrogant, that he ordered the bulldozers to double their pace. He thought he had broken her. But they forgot one thing. They forgot about Chris Merrick. While Matt and Caryn are playing 4D chess, Chris is the grounded realist. He is the one who saw Amy's distress and asked the simple, logical questions. He looked at the digital copy of the 2018 waiver Matt provided, and something didn't sit right with him. It was too clean. It was too convenient. And most importantly, Amy's gut instinct, once the shock wore off, was screaming that she never, ever would have signed away the rights to the garden. That land was her soul. She might sign away the house. She might sign away the pumpkins, but the soil? Never. This brings us to the forensic twist that changes the trajectory of this entire scandal. This is the part of the story that turns a reality TV feud into a potential felony case. Amy, bolstered by Chris's suspicion, didn't fold. She didn't accept the gaslighting. Instead, she quietly hired a forensic document examiner, a top-tier expert usually reserved for corporate fraud cases and criminal trials. She handed over the digital file of the 2018 waiver and asked for a comprehensive analysis. What the expert found is the bombshell that Amy's lawyer is now preparing to detonate in court. The analysis focused on the signature. Handwriting is unique, like a fingerprint, but it is also fluid. No person signs their name exactly the same way twice. There are microscopic variations in pressure, speed, and angle. If you sign your name 10 times, you will have 10 slightly different signatures. It is a biological fact known as natural variation. The forensic expert took the signature from the disputed 2018 waiver and ran it through a pattern-matching database against Amy's known signatures from that era. And they found a match, a perfect match. In fact, it was too perfect. The signature on the waiver was a pixel-for-pixel, 100% identical overlay of a signature Amy had placed on a royalty check from 2015. Let that sink in. The theory is that the signature on the 2018 document wasn't written in ink. It wasn't signed with a stylus. It was a digital lift. Someone had taken a high-resolution scan of an old check, used Photoshop or similar editing software to extract the signature, and pasted it onto the new waiver. In the world of forensics, this is known as a cut-and-paste forgery. It is the smoking gun of fraud. It is impossible to replicate a signature perfectly by hand. The probability of Amy signing her name in 2018 exactly as she did on a specific check in 2015 is statistically 0. It is undeniable proof that the document was fabricated. The implications are terrifying. This means that Matt and Caryn didn't just lie, they manufactured legal documents. They created a fraudulent instrument to bypass a land trust. In the state of Oregon, forgery in the first degree is a Class C felony. If this document was submitted to a county clerk or used to secure zoning permits, we are looking at charges that carry actual prison time. This isn't just reality TV drama anymore. This is a criminal conspiracy. But the investigation didn't stop at the signature. The forensic twist has a second layer, one that implicates Caryn even more directly. A document like a waiver needs to be notarized to be valid. The 2018 document bore the stamp and seal of a local notary public. If the signature was fake, the notarization had to be fake too, or the notary was in on the scam. Chris Merrick, acting like a private investigator, reportedly took the lead on tracking down this notary. We are hearing rumors that this individual was a former acquaintance of Caryn's, someone who had done work for the farm in the past. When Chris and a private investigator approached this notary with the forensic evidence, showing them the proof that the signature was a digital copy, the notary cracked. Exclusive reports suggest the notary admitted, under pressure, that they never saw Amy sign that document. They admitted that Caryn brought the document to them already signed. The theory is that Caryn used her influence and allegedly a significant cash payment disguised as a consulting fee to pressure the notary into stamping the document without Amy present. This is a direct violation of notary law and a criminal act of collusion. The notary's admission is the final nail in the coffin. It connects the dots between the forged signature and the intent to deceive. It places Caryn directly at the scene of the crime, handling the fraudulent document and facilitating its authentication. It destroys the "I didn't know" defense. Matt can't claim he was just handed a document and assumed it was real. If his partner was paying off notaries, the conspiracy is shared. Suddenly, the timeline makes sense. The rush to build the wedding barn, the measuring of the drapes, the smug arrogance. It was all built on the confidence that their forgery was undetectable. They thought Amy was too unsophisticated to check the metadata. They thought she was too broken to fight back. They underestimated the one thing that has always defined Amy Roloff: her resilience. The villain's trap has backfired spectacularly. Instead of trapping Amy in a corner where she has no rights, they have trapped themselves in a web of felonies. The newer document they produced to silence her has become the evidence that could destroy them. We are talking about potential charges for forgery, falsifying business records, and conspiracy. And let's not forget the civil side. This is fraud and breach of fiduciary duty on a multi-million-dollar scale. The atmosphere at Roloff Farms has shifted from construction noise to the quiet dread of impending legal doom. Matt is reportedly furious. But he's not furious that he got caught. Insiders say he is furious at Caryn for being sloppy. He is blaming her for the notary trail. He is blaming her for the digital trace. The alliance is fracturing. They are turning on each other. Amy, meanwhile, is armed with the original 1990 deed and the forensic report proving the 2018 waiver is a fake. She is no longer the victim. She is the prosecutor. She holds the power to send the police to the farm gates. But before she makes that call, she is preparing the ultimate checkmate, a legal maneuver so massive it won't just stop the wedding barn, it will redefine the ownership of the entire property. You think you know how this ends? You have no idea. Because what Amy's lawyer does next isn't just about stopping a barn. It's about taking it all back. The lawsuit is coming, and it is going to be the most expensive mistake Matt Roloff ever made. The hammer has officially dropped. If you thought the discovery of the forgery was the climax, you were wrong. That was just the ammunition. What Amy Roloff did next is being described by legal insiders as a scorched earth strategy that doesn't just stop a construction project, it threatens to dismantle Matt Roloff's entire empire. We are talking about the ultimate win, the kind of justice that fans have been screaming for over the last decade. According to exclusive reports leaking from the courthouse, Amy's legal team filed a massive multi-count lawsuit early Monday morning. This isn't a simple property dispute anymore. The filing allegedly accuses Matt and Caryn of civil conspiracy, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, and, here's the kicker, elder financial abuse, citing the manipulation of the grandfather clause and the alleged forgery of the 2018 waiver. The dollar amount attached to the damages? Sources say it is upwards of $5 million. But the lawsuit was just the first punch. The knockout blow came in the form of an immediate emergency injunction. Amy's lawyers argued that since the authorizing document, that forged waiver, is effectively a criminal instrument, all construction on the wedding barn is illegal, and the judge agreed. We have received reports that a sheriff's deputy arrived at Roloff Farms less than 48 hours ago. Imagine the scene. Matt is overseeing the contractors, perhaps yelling about a delay, when law enforcement rolls up the driveway. They didn't come for a chat. They came to serve a cease and desist order that mandates an immediate halt to all commercial development on the disputed acreage. The excavators turned off their engines. The workers packed up their tools. The silence that fell over the farm wasn't peaceful. It was the sound of Matt's grand plan dying on the vine. This is where the relationship dynamics take a dark and irreversible turn. Theories from those close to the couple suggest that the moment the injunction was served, the alliance between Matt and Caryn shattered. For years, they have been a united front against Amy, but fraud is a different beast. When you are looking at potential jail time or financial ruin, loyalty is the first thing to go. Insiders are whispering that Matt is furious. He is reportedly blaming Caryn entirely for the sloppy execution of the document. The narrative he is spinning to his inner circle is that he didn't know the extent of what Caryn was doing to get the deal pushed through. He is trying to position himself as a victim of her ambition. He is claiming she was the one who found the notary, she was the one who handled the digital files, and she was the one who assured him everything was taken care of. Caryn, on the other hand, is allegedly terrified. She sees the writing on the wall. The wedding barn was supposed to be her golden parachute, her legacy project that cemented her status as the new matriarch. Instead, it has become a crime scene. We are hearing rumors that she has been quietly consulting her own defense attorneys, separate from Matt. That is the biggest red flag you can imagine. When a couple stops using the same lawyer, it means they are preparing to testify against each other. The wedding barn dream is dead. But the consequences are just beginning. With the construction halted and the lawsuit active, Matt is bleeding money. He has sunk countless funds into permits, materials, and labor that he can no longer use. And now, he has to pay a premier legal defense team to keep himself out of prison for fraud. The financial strain is immense. The farm, which was supposed to be a cash cow, is now a liability. And through all of this chaos, where is Amy? She isn't shouting. She isn't posting cryptic quotes on social media. She is winning. There is a poignant, almost cinematic description circulating from a source who visited the farm recently. They describe seeing Amy standing on her back porch, the same porch where she used to watch her kids play. She was looking out over the garden that Matt tried to pave, the garden Caryn tried to steal. It was still there. The flowers were blooming. The soil was undisturbed. Beside her stood Chris Merrick, not as a savior, but as a witness to her strength. This is the ultimate vindication. Amy didn't just save a patch of dirt. She reclaimed her history. She proved that you cannot erase 30 years of sacrifice with a digital scanner and a fake notary stamp. She proved that while Matt might own the deed to the land, she owns the moral high ground. And in the eyes of the law, thanks to that 1990 grandfather clause, she still owns the power. The latest update we have just received before recording this adds a final layer of intrigue to this saga. Reports suggest that Matt's legal team reached out to Amy's lawyers yesterday with a settlement offer. A massive settlement offer to drop the fraud charges and seal the records. They want to bury the forgery story. They want to make this go away before it becomes a criminal indictment. But here is the best part. Amy hasn't signed it. Sources say she is letting Matt sweat. She knows she has the leverage. She knows that every day this drags on, Matt and Caryn's relationship crumbles a little more. She is holding all the cards, and for the first time in a long time, she is playing to win, not just to survive. This is the beginning of the end for Matt and Caryn. You cannot build a future on a foundation of lies, and you certainly cannot build a wedding barn on a forged signature. The dynasty they tried to steal has rejected them. The reign of Caryn Chandler at Roloff Farms is officially over, not because of a breakup, but because of a gavel. We will keep tracking this lawsuit every step of the way. We are watching the court dockets for the criminal filings. We are watching to see if Caryn moves out of the big house. But for now, take a moment to appreciate the justice of it all. The garden is safe, the truth is out, and Amy Roloff is the last one standing. This is the justice we've been waiting for. Do you think Matt will finally dump Caryn after this embarrassment? Comment Team Amy below if you're glad she fought back. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exclusive updates as this legal battle unfolds. This is LPBW Update, signing off.